good morning, viewers from across the globe. Today is Thursday, July 2nd. Reactions are trailing the dramatic airport arrest of former minister Uche who was nabbed by the DSS. He's accused of forging his university degree and NYSC certificate to secure a ministerial appointment in 2023. And over in New York City, two daring climbers shocked the world as they scaled to the top of the Empire State Building just to reveal a banner which read, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." Let's dive right in. I am OjyOkpe, and this is what's trending. Now, before we dive deeper, let's see what you're talking about right now. We've been tracking conversations on X, Facebook, our YouTube live feed, and of course, Leke. And three stories are dominating your timelines this morning. Trending at number one, fake agency scandal rocking the presidency. 1.3 billion naira was budgeted for an agency the presidency says does not exist, and Nigerians are demanding answers. How exactly does a phantom council get into the presidency's own budget? We have the details. Now, trending at number two, outrage and fury in Oshun State. Newly recruited soldiers from the Army Depot in Oshogbo allegedly stormed student hostels at Oshun State University, assaulting male students, stripping and sexually assaulting female students, and cutting away over 60 mobile phones. Social media is abuzz. Now, trending at number three, residents in Obibi Ezina in Imo State are taking to the streets demanding the immediate expulsion of Fulani herdsmen accused of kidnapping in the area, chanting, "Fulani must go." Now, here is where you come in. Join the conversations. Use the hashtag What's Trending with OjyOkpe. Comment on our live feed, and of course, Leke. Tell me which of these stories matters most to you, because for the next hour, we're going into everything that has Nigeria and the rest of the world buzzing. But first, Minister of Works David Umahi is challenging NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi to a public debate on road infrastructure, and Nigerians are picking sides. Let's watch.
Reinforced concrete technology of President Bola Tinubu is quite innovative. And I feel so sad, when my brother, the former governor of Anambra State, who should know what administration is, what governance is. I saw in social media where he got to a point where the road is bad and he snapped it. And, so when did, governance reduce to comedy? And so he was attacking my integrity and personality. And I'm always ready, for a debate. I'm always ready to disaggregate the unit cost of, concrete, and to debate with him. And so I feel so sad, because governance is the responsibility of everybody. The president is not here today, but I have to be the president by performing the job that the president has assigned to me. So governance is the job of everybody. Look at our infrastructure being destroyed. Look at vehicles parking on our roads. Must the president go there and stand there? So we take responsibility. If anything goes wrong in Ministry of Works, I take responsibility, not the president. And so I want to commend the president very highly. And I want to thank the fashioner chairman of, ADC, my namesake, His Excellency David Mark. He was bold to say, President Bola Tinubu has done very well in infrastructure. He was bold to say that. But my brother, Governor Wike, has replied him, because he damaged his sincerity by saying, is it true that we chop? The infrastructure roads is the GDP that grows every other GDP. When the road is cut, it's like the person is in prison. Because when you cannot go from one point to the other, then you are in prison. But look at what the president is doing. When one distance to the other, when Nasarawa is very close to Ebonyi, when Ebonyi is very close to Cross River, when Cross River is close to Sokoto, then that is the GDP that we are looking at.
All right, let's put this clash in full context. Peter Obi shared a photo of a dilapidated road. Umahi challenged him to a debate. Umahi's ministry has commissioned a significant number of road projects under the Tinubu administration. But the debate online is not about how many roads have been commissioned. The debate is whether the roads that are being commissioned are reaching the communities that need them most. Well, some Nigerians online say Peter Obi's approach of posting evidence of what is broken is classic opposition politics. Others argue that Umahi challenging Peter Obi to a debate rather than addressing the road is classic deflection. We'll take some reactions, but first, good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning? Good morning. Ayomide, our president. How are you this morning? You look so lovely. Good morning. Rufy on fire. How are you this morning? Fantastic. Well, all right. Like I said, I'll take some reactions with this clash between Peter Obi and David Umahi. You know, David Umahi will always respond. But okay, let's just share some reactions. Christopher wrote on X, Peter Obi cannot be debating with a minister. That's not the office he's vying for. Bring Tinubu, who is the president. That's who Peter Obi will debate. A government appointee shouldn't be asking a presidential candidate to come for a debate. That's not Peter Obi's level. Well, David wrote, love the way David Umahi replied Peter Obi here. So Peter Obi went to a section of the Asaba Benin Road that is not good and created content with it. Indeed, na comedy baba they do now. Well, Minister Umahi challenged him to a debate. Everyone knows that Okute, that's Peter Obi, right, won't show up waiting he won't talk. You know, I had to bring the diverse views. Ayo, our president, president of the Arise Women's Party. let me just clarify again. All right,
vote for me. I've been voted. I'm
the president.
We know who the president of the Arise Women's Party.
No, we don't know.
We know.
Yes, we know the true president.
We know. That's inside the
Can we focus on
the commentary on
No, absolutely not. We're talking about the
president, the
other officers. Ayo just a placeholder.
Who is the VP? I forgot.
Ayo is a fake agent.
Can we get
let's get into because this is an important topic.
Correct.
I like what you said.
Yeah.
Minister Dave Umahi, engineer Dave Umahi, because I put that title in because of how passionate he is about the quality of the roads, about the quality of his concrete roads. He always responds. And once I'd said this, that I actually find that accountable. I think it's a good thing that Dave Umahi is always willing, whether sometimes cantankerous or sometimes, you know, almost combative, but he responds. And so he's willing, unlike what we've seen with other ministers. There's some ministers we've not heard anything from since they took office. But at least he's able to engage the people. He's able to defend his project. He's able to talk about the things that he has done. However, saying that Mr. Peter Obi has no, why is he always political? That is what the opposition is supposed to be doing. Sometimes we don't understand opposition politics. Opposition politics is that they are there to call out areas where the government hasn't performed well. And in other cases, provide alternative solutions. We see the way it works out. They're not there to rub your back or tell you you're doing well. Or if something is bad, it's bad. And if the roads that a lot of money has been committed to is seen to have defections here and there, then it's not just Peter Obi's call to call it out. It's also citizenship. It's a civic responsibility and active citizenship to actually call these roads out. And then it is up to Mr. Governor, engineer, he's had so many titles, Engineer David Umahi, to come out and defend it. But to now ask for a debate and say, let's not waste time doing all that is now being political. Take the feedback where possible, where there are defections. Don't tell us that, there are cars that have been parked on the road. Did they not expect the Nigerian peculiarities? Was there not a study, a risk assessment done as to what would happen potentially if the Nigerian factor happened to those roads? And so what we're asking for is that a lot of money has gone into infrastructural projects well within their rights. They are appreciated. It's good for development. It's good for industrialization. It's good for modernization. But it also has to be quality for money. And when it's being called out, the onus on the government is to respond and respond properly to every citizen, irrespective of who the person is. And Mr. Peter Obi, as a citizen of Nigeria and an opposition leader, has the right to ask those questions. And we thank him for those, for holding them to their jugular, because they shake every time he asks them questions. And that's a good thing.
Well, all right. We'll take more stories on the politics. Senate President Godswill Akpabio shared some sharp political words on Wednesday when he openly mocked the People's Democratic Party, declaring he was surprised the opposition party still exists. Akpabio made these comments during the commissioning of a new road in Abuja, where he called on FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and PDP members to stop prolonging the party's life. Let's take a look.
My dear brothers, distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I've seen so many of them. Well, very prominent is Senator Izunaso, Senator Eteng Williams, Senator Olaga Nwogu, whom I understand just won election from PDP. I didn't know that there was still PDP.
Now, people have pointed out that Akpabio was himself once a card-carrying PDP member and Senate Minority Leader before defecting to the APC in 2018. And his comments come as a party with its faction is currently in the process of rebuilding its structures nationwide. Let's take some reactions on this story really quickly. Now, JP wrote on X, "That's one way to congratulate the winner. Imagine winning an election and the first reaction is, wait, una still dey? The PDP candidate won the seat and somehow still received friendly fire immediately after." Well, First Son wrote, "The Senate President genuinely forgot an opposition party existed until they won an election. That's either the most honest thing a politician has ever said or the most embarrassing." Rufai, I'll come to you on the story on Akpabio.
Okay, so Akpabio now trolling the party that made him, because there was nothing he was going to become politically if the PDP didn't exist there, and because he's moved over to the APC. I mean, it speaks volumes about our political class. They are constantly always about themselves and whatever is sweet for them. But he should not forget, when he was enjoying the PDP, did he say this about the PDP? And he should not forget that power is very transient. At some point, there was a certain individual called Vincent Ogbulafo that said PDP will rule for the next, how many years? 60 years in this country. Vincent Ogbulafo's prediction didn't even get up the first 20 years before Wahala started within the fold of the PDP. So those that are in power today also should be careful and be critical. For the Minister of Works, I would now like to ask, so what was his reaction to the road not being done? If Peter Obi had taken a picture like that and I was Minister of Works, I would quickly say, okay, maybe we are working on it, we're about to get there and everything. Oh, this money has been earmarked, I'll give clarity. And I mean, I'm not talking about debates. I mean, I'll be more concerned about my work. So what is the reason for that road not now being done? Because also me, I have an axe to grind with them in government because there's been a lot of misplaced priorities. Like I challenged them yesterday that they've not answered my challenge. They should show us the EIA for the coastal road and how the process for the EIA was conducted. You know why I'm also asking this? It's an accountability question. Funsho Doherty released an excerpt of what he got from the Bureau of Public Enterprise, where they talked about the fact that the EIA for the road has not been submitted. But do you know that money was allocated to actually conduct the EIA? How that money was spent? These are accountability questions.
All right.
Pure and simple.
Okay. Dr. Vati now. This next story has Nigerians asking serious questions about accountability at the highest levels of government, the presidency has flatly denied the existence of the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, which was ironically allocated 1.3 billion naira in the 2026 budget. In a statement issued by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, the agency's alleged Director General, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, is described as an impostor who forged his appointment letter. According to the presidency's statement, Adeyemi operated out of an office at the Federal Secretariat complex in Abuja for over a year, hosting meetings with foreigners and Nigerian officials, and even attempted to obtain U.S. visas for his staff through a note verbal from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, alerted the DSS and the police in October 2025 about the fictitious agency, and Adeyemi was arrested at his secretariat office on October 27th. The police raided both his office and his home in Suleja, discovering 34 bank accounts, 9 opened in the names of his fictitious agencies, and alleged evidence that he fraudulently opened a CBN account by deceiving the Office of the Accountant General. Adeyemi was released on bail and now faces an 8-count charge, including criminal forgery and impersonation, and is due in court on July 27th. Well, here is a video showing Adeyemi promoting the fake agency.
The vision driving the work of Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council. This demand bold ideas, bolder actions, and strong collaboration and decisive change. The council was created to serve a simple but powerful purpose, that is to support the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's effort. Her mandate is clear. We aim to shape policies that not only stimulate growth, attract both foreign and local investment. Being privileged to serve as the Director General matters to me personally because I know what is at stake. I have seen the challenges and the potential in this country. I believe in what this council stands for. In the short time since my appointment, we have laid the foundation for impact, streamlining investor support systems, improving advisory structures, and aligning national priorities with practical solutions. Our work is ongoing and we have a long-term vision, but the goal is simple: to build an inclusive, stable economy where opportunity is accessible to everyone. To the citizens, the entrepreneurs, and the partners, we are working for you and with you to move Nigeria forward. God bless Nigeria.
Well, this story has generated significant reactions online. After Adeyemi was arrested and released on bail, he alleged that Femi Gbajabiamila collected 400 million naira by proxy to secure him the appointment, with a 200 million naira balance still outstanding. But Adeyemi's claim directly contradicted his earlier statement to the police, where he stated that one Dolapo Babatunde Tanimola, who died in a fire incident on October 22nd, just 5 days before his arrest, was the person who assisted him in procuring the fake appointment letter. The presidency has described Adeyemi as a serial fraudster, pointing out that in 2016, he falsely paraded himself as an ambassador of the World Youth Organization until the United Nations denied its existence. Now, here are the 3 questions Nigerians are asking online. How did a fake agency secure an office space at the Federal Secretariat, attract foreign diplomats, and get 1.3 billion naira into the presidency's own budget? And I'll take Kalu Aja's tweet. He wrote on X, "This situation is quite concerning. Femi Gbajabiamila, the chief of staff to the president, claims that the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council does not exist within the structure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. However, this very council is listed in the budget of the presidency, not in some distant ministry or agency. It's allocated within the budget of the presidency itself. This raises 2 possibilities. Either the presidency is unaware of its own budget, which is meant for its own operations, or the secretary to the federal government is being dishonest. What surprised me is that the secretary is making a definitive statement on an issue that can be easily verified. I have attached screenshots from the Federal Budget Office, which shows what the National Assembly voted on and what the president approved. The amount in question is 1.3 billion. We will be closely observing how the president responds to this situation. Dr. Bati, this story has gone viral on social media. I had highlighted the 3 questions that Nigerians are asking online. And of course, over to you. I'd like your comment and analysis on this subject.
Okay. You said it has generated a lot of concerns.
Yes.
Understandably so. Because this is so bizarre, this is so unbelievable, this is so scary that the Nigerian government will not know its own agencies. And that an alleged con artist, an alleged confidence trickster, scammer, will operate in the full-face, in-your-face operation of the Nigerian government, and nobody will raise questions. You showed one of the clips where he was even advertising and promoting the agency. Now, in our time, when we were in government, there was a basic book in front of you that, that was given to everybody, where they had the list of all government agencies, ministries, parastatals, principal officers of government with all their phone numbers. So if you came to my office and you said, oh, I'm this and this, I only needed to take one of those 2 books and check immediately if you existed. But under the APC administration, we have seen a scam in the right face of government. How did the man get a space in the Federal Secretariat? The Federal Secretariat offices, are usually allocated through the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Some of my staff had an office there. I never visited the place because they would come to the villa to come and see me. There's no way you will get that office if your office does not exist. And yet, this particular fellow was given an office there. He claims that he has a letter of appointment that was procured, that was the word he used, by one Tanemola. When the police went after him in November 2025, the Tanemola had died 5 days before. And then he was charged to court in one of the reports in November 2025. November 2025. This is 2026.
Yes.
We are now being told he's going to appear in court on July 27th. Almost a whole year. The matter has not been considered in court. The man was holding meetings with ambassadors in a hotel called the West Carton, somewhere in Asokoro in Abuja. Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs complained and wrote to the office of the NSA and also wrote to the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation seeking clarifications. All of that was last year. And then that man continued to operate. He met with Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Honorable Benjamin Kalu. He met with other principals of state and they granted him an audience. So what happened to that publication that we used to have about existing government agencies and individuals that have been appointed into government? So what you have seen, the point we always made about, we've always made about data, information. You are running a government without basic information, without basic data. We are not even talking about MBS. Basic information about persons who have been appointed to positions. And this man, you say he's running a promotion, export promotion on behalf of the presidency of Nigeria. I think it's a scandal. Complete scandal. The disclaimers that have been issued by the various agencies of government, either is the office of the chief of staff or the office of Mr. Bayo Onanuga. No, those disclaimers are inadequate.
All right.
Nigerians want to know what is going on. They say there will be investigation. We all want to know the details of those investigations. Because somebody comes up tomorrow and declares herself a first lady of Nigeria. Although we know Senator Remi Tinubu very well, but you never know. Some people may be passing off,
and they will be getting paid,
and they will have office, and they will launch their own programs.
And a budget.
And if such a thing happens, all of us will be involved in that fight.
We will.
Just as we are involved in this one.
Absolutely.
We don't want ghosts in the corridors of power who are also being given allocation.
Yes.
It also speaks to the National Assembly. Yeah. They allocated something in the appropriation bill.
Yes, all right.
Now that appropriation bill has raised questions now. Right. How many other ghost agencies are on that list?
That's what it is. How many ghost agencies are on that list?
In fact, they should recruit some of us to come and help them do the analysis.
I'll do a very diligent job. I'm volunteering myself.
Arise News can release you to go and help them.
You know, I'll do a good job. When I see billions,
put their house in order.
Billions. All right, Rufai, I know you want to speak, so I'll take one more reaction really quickly.
And the man calls himself a prince. When they want to do fraud, they go about saying they are prince. And they'll be wearing white agbada all over the place.
This is it. I'll take one reaction on X. This person, Hadman, wrote, the government wants us to believe this is just one man's scam. But the ease with which these entities operated within official spaces suggests a much more serious breakdown in governance that an internal press release cannot simply wish away.
No,
the point you just made. Sorry, quick comment, Rufai, because we don't have
things. Dr. Abati, thank you so much for the lovely job you did on that. But a couple of things I want to ask. Number one, what were the circumstances around this Tanimola's death? Was there any forensic report carried out?
Yes.
Was there any autopsy carried out?
Yes, I saw that in the police report. There was a police report.
There was a police... Yes. No, was it forensics carried out? Was it autopsy?
There was an autopsy, and the police verified that he died in a fire.
Through fire.
Correct.
So the police... I also want, Oji, with due respect, can we get an independent body to verify that autopsy?
Okay.
I'm sorry, when the police talks these days, Oji, you know my stance. A police that can say vigilantes, bandits were vigilantes. No, I want an independent verification of that autopsy, of the circumstances of what the Tanimo was dead, and all that transpired. Another point is, you see, Mr. Bayo Onanuga's statements and indictment on this government, let people stop lying to us. Yeah. The man cannot do all he has done without a level or some level of complicity. Mr. Bayo Onanuga's statement did not tell us how this place, this agency got a budget code. I mean, you know who the process you have to go through to get a budget code. How a non-legal entity got a budget code, how they got in the Secretariat.
Central bank accounts.
The central bank account, they said forgery. So is it that nobody flagged it in the central bank? Is it that there was no second eye to flag it? How they opened TSA accounts?
Let me drag in another...
drag it in.
We talk about Senate oversight.
Special Prosecutor Ojinika. Please take notes.
We have a full committee that's supposed to scrutinize line items. Nobody said that which agency is this Presidential Foreign Investment... Hold on. Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Agency. Yes. And nobody said, why do we have such an agency where we already have the NIPC, which is the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council.
And let me tell you, that is the council that flagged it. That is the council that flagged it.
We pay these senators to do their jobs oversight. So let's say that the executive missed it. Yes. That is why we have different levels of oversight.
Yes.
They missed it as well. It's a scandal.
Let me put an insight both of you are not looking at. Do you know that the Senate already has correspondence with this fictitious agency? There was a letter that the Senate addressed to the DG of this fictitious agency about a certain training. So if
we saw that letter, not verified, or it was social media.
Was already making...
Yes, on this table, we have not verified that letter.
So if the Senate was already making correspondence based on that. Secondly, this man claims that he got into the position on the 3rd of January. Up till whenever it was given around September, is it that there were no due diligence to flag it? And afterwards, if after Mr. Gbajabiamila flagged it, he still appeared in the 2026 budget. If they say, okay, they flagged it around November, they had that police case and all of them. So afterwards, it still appeared in the 2016 budget that was prepared for around December that was passed. Then there's more than this here. Yeah. What I would suggest is we need an investigative panel as regards this. We need to be able to check what transpired, and it must be as independent as possible with a lot of forensic experts. And we must reevaluate the cause of that Tani Mola's death and everything centered around it. And please, that man, Adeyemi, if you said your phone there was an assassination attempt and everything and all of that against your life, that your phone you tracked and everything, at least you should have cloud services that you back up some of your data. We must have access to your cloud services.
And when the court takes up the case on July 27th, they should not adjourn the case till 2028.
No, we don't have a year to wait. Yes. We need to know.
This is a matter of urgent public interest.
Has the 1.3 billion been disbursed?
No, it's not been disbursed.
That's the big question now. All right, very good. So I'll just take one more comment from Leke, because we said we will be reading your comment. Shehu wrote on Leke, but Nigerians are expected to believe that one individual created an agency, got into the national budget, secured legislative approval, obtained presidential assent, opened CBN account, recruited hundreds of staff, occupied office space in the Federal Secretariat, and accessed public funds without the knowledge or approval of powerful officials. And that's a comment from Leke. Thank you to our viewers, and then we're going to continue to engage with this story. And you know, like I said, it's a big story, and we need accountability. At this moment, I'm calling out the Budget Office and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, because this is where the ball was dropped. Femi Gbajabiamila was a whistleblower in this whole case, and that's what I wanted to.
Yes.
I wanted to clarify.
Also needs to answer that. Well, that also needs to be investigated.
What needs to be investigated?
The allegations against him, you can't just say it's a whistleblower.
Well, did he call it out or not?
But they made allegations against him. They made allegations against Mr. Gbajabiamila. So as long as allegations, I repeat, are made against him, it also has to be part of the investigation process. Okay. We can't just say it's a whistleblower. He needs to clear his name. And it's not Bayo Onanuga that's going to do it for him.
Okay, so he's not a whistleblower.
No. He's not only a whistleblower.
Anyway,
his allegations were made against him. Oji, it's been called a spade.
Okay, according to Rufai, he's not a whistleblower. But he called out this report, and it's him that knows the details at this moment, because allegations have been made against him. So hopefully when the investigations unfold, we'll hear more from the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. And reactions are trailing the World Bank's approval of a new $1.25 billion loan for Nigeria, despite widespread public opposition over the country's growing debt burden. The loan under the Nigeria Actions for Investment and Job Acceleration Program will support reforms in capital markets, the digital economy, and the power sector. And I'll take Toby's post on X. Toby wrote, Nigerians spent days online begging the World Bank not to approve another loan. Yesterday, it got approved anyway. 1.25 billion, the second biggest World Bank loan to Nigeria under Tinubu, right after the $1.5 billion one from 2024. They are calling it a jobs and investment package. Electricity for 32 million people. Broadband for 58 million. Support for 9.5 million farmers over the next 6 years. Good targets on paper, but we've had targets before. The backlash was never about the project. It's about who pays this back and for how long. Ayo, a quick comment on this, because we took this story and there was the backlash when the World Bank actually, blocked its comment section because Nigerians were trolling them, saying, please, don't give Tinubu loan. Your thoughts?
I think it's important that we establish the fact that we've said it, that loans in itself are not bad, especially, or loans is not a bad thing, especially if it's for developmental purposes and for infrastructural development. What the challenge usually is accountability. like you said already and broke down the areas where this will fix: job creation, digital accessibility, key areas for any, growth, any economic growth in any nation. So it's welcome. But what we are asking for is that these monies that are being borrowed, number one, what is the impact on the sectors that they have been allocated to? Would Nigerians see the benefits to the millions that have been outlined as who will come, from this particular loan? That is what we're asking for: accountability. And so when we have issues around processes, procurement, it then makes the Nigerian people question why we're taking more loans. Honestly, we would not be having a lot of conversations around loans that we're taking if we saw the impact of these loans as a people. If you can see that, okay, this is where it's going to, this is the plan, because if it's loan for development, then ultimately we will have the capacity to pay back. So that is the real, the question from a lot of people, that what has happened with previous World Bank loans? Can we have some form of accountability? To what extent were they able to meet the target? We're coming into an election here. We're coming into a point of where we're talking about the fact that, accountability is almost zero when it comes to money and transparency. Do we need money? Absolutely. We have continued to talk about a revenue shortage in order to meet some of these commitments from this government. But how do we ensure that what we are borrowing would go towards development and would go back into ensuring that jobs are created, we're bringing more money to the economy, add to GDP growth, and ultimately make it not so difficult to be able to pay back or repay these loans? These are some of the questions that Nigerians ought to be asking, and what we want to see from the government: more accountability and transparency.
Accountability and transparency goes hand in hand. Now, over in Oshun State, fear and fury are trailing a shocking attack on students of Oshun State University after newly recruited soldiers from the Army Depot in Oshogbo reportedly stormed student hostels in Okebale area on Monday night, assaulting male students, stripping and sexually molesting female students, and carting away over 60 mobile phones and other valuables. In a harrowing account, a female student, Ademola, narrated how she was alone in her room cooking when the soldiers forced their way in and pinned her to her bathroom door. Let's take a look.
I was in my hostel cooking when I noticed they were around. Later, everything died down and they started hearing noise again. They started on their touch, they started posting that your name, their thoughts tomorrow. And I was like, who is there and why are you doing this? The next, they asked me to go open my door. I opened the door and it was like, well, how many people that were inside? How many are we inside the room? And I was like, we have two. My roommates were not around. Then I'm yelling on inside the room. He pinned me to my room's toilet door. Pinned me to the door. No, and he was like, I'm going to like it that I should not shout.
The Vice Chancellor of the university described the soldiers as animals who should not be living among humans, demanding their summary dismissal and persecution. 8 soldiers have since been arrested, and the Army Depot commandant has ordered a full investigation. And I'll tie this other story, Dr. Bati, before I come to you. More from Oshun State University, where in a tragic and deeply troubling story, the death of the final year student, Grace Oshun has triggered outrage on campus. Oshun a 400-level criminology and security studies student, died after allegations of substandard health facilities at the school's Ifetedo campus. Students say that she suffered a medical emergency and fainted. In a video trending online, her fellow students came out to protest. Let's take a look.
They told her that they built those steps there. It's not functional. Every single year, we lose students. Our parents trust you know, that's why we are here. Our parents trust you, that's why we are here. Because if we can't keep our mental health, release us. What we are in the Oshun, we pay killing for them. Things are not functioning. The hostel, everything's not functioning. What's the point of all this thing? Hostel, I care for the doctor. Doctors are not available. Doctors are available. We took students to clinic just to receive treatment. Nothing is being done to them. We pay school fees. We pay for this. They are extorting us. They are extorting us. We pay for everything over here. Nothing is done. Every day we are dying over here.
This is so heartbreaking. May her soul rest in peace. The university announced sweeping reforms, including round-the-clock operation at all health centers and a new health facility. While the reforms announced are welcome, Nigerians are calling for sustainable implementation beyond these initial promises. Your thoughts?
Well, and it's not just Oshun State University. In terms of healthcare, a university is a community. We talk about town and gown, and when you go to the gown community, in some of these universities, you could have as many as 5,000 students, and also teachers and other administrative staff. And it's important that, facilities for security, for healthcare are provided. It is a most unfortunate incident. Can you imagine what the parents of this lady will be going through? A student in 400 level, already expecting that she will soon graduate, only for news to come that she had died because at the clinic, at the university medical facility, it was said that there was no oxygen tank, which could have been used to revive her. So it's a really tragic story. And we hope that the owners of the university, in this case, the Oshun State government, will move swiftly to address this particular challenge, not just in this university, but also in all colleges, schools, educational facilities generally, owned by the state government. Now, to go to the other tragic story in Oshogbo.
In Oshogbo, yes.
Now, a set of soldiers were said to have gone through the passing out parade from the army depot in Oshogbo. Now, the idea of training soldiers is to instill in them the values of discipline, of gallantry, and of sacrifice.
Right.
People who will have elected that they will serve their country and pay the ultimate sacrifice in the process, if need be. And then after graduation, these soldiers were said to have stormed at night the female hostel. They didn't go to male hostel. They went to the female hostels of the university to go and harass the ladies, to rape them, and to make away with their phones and other electronic gadgets. One of them was apprehended, and the students, they gave him the beating of his life. He was lucky that he wasn't killed in the process. Now, we do not expect that soldiers just coming out of training should behave in this manner. What is the quality of instruction that they received? What is the quality of training that they got? These are the kind of soldiers that will go into the military and also behave as if, they are animals, as the Vice Chancellor of the University of the Oshun State University said. Now, you have said there's been a suggestion that they should be dismissed because they are not good enough for those ones who have been arrested. I think they should be subjected to prosecution, and the full weight of the law should be brought to bear on them. The matter should not be swept under the under the carpet. They say they went to Army Training Depot. Well, there are other ones that will go to Defense Academy. Even at the level of Army Training Depot, no matter the level of their training, they should not be allowed to behave like criminals. And if whatever happens at the end of the day, after serving their time, if any one of them should be retained within the military on the basis of maybe, defense offered, even at that, such person should be sent to the hottest part of Boko Haram battlefront and asked to stay there permanently.
Right.
So that in the process, they can get the full result of their kind of criminal action.
I'd like for you to quickly touch on the female students assaulted by the army, really, because this is.
And I think it's a high level of betrayal, because the people who ought to be protecting you, preserving you, the people who are meant to be that they should represent a symbol of trust, violated that trust in the most violent of ways. And the onus is on the school authorities to investigate. And I love that the army has responded quickly. But we don't just want nice sound bites and we're going to go after them. I mean, look at this girl. Her voice was breaking at the sheer, not just humiliation, but abuse and defilement by these army officials. I hope that this will send a strong message. But I think other questions should be asked. What were they doing within the premises? How do they get into the student hostels? And this is where we talk about security, even for our students. No army official should be able, ideally, to tell, that he wants to enter a female hostel. To do what? For what reason? How do they get that access? And so these are certain things that we talk about when we talk about protection of our students, whether in primary school, secondary school, and now in our universities. We talk about the terrorists who go to violate our students. Then the same people who are meant to apprehend these terrorists are the ones inflicting this harm on these students. It should be a strong warning should be sent out, and they should face the strictest parts of the law. Very sad situation.
Very sad situation. Now to a series of disturbing stories on insecurity, starting with Niger State, where a kidnapping case has now stretched into 9 agonizing months for Barrister Ahmed Mohammed, a senior government official who is still in the hands of his abductors, even after his family paid 40 million naira in ransom. Mohammed, who is the permanent commissioner of the Niger State Independent Electoral Commission, was abducted on September 29, 2025, along the Mokwa-Ibi Road in Borgu local government area of the state. To this day, the kidnappers not only refuse to free him, they have now come back demanding a staggering additional 300 million naira. Meanwhile, in Benue State, gunmen kidnapped a senior pastor and 2 members of his congregation, while in a separate attack, 10 people were brutally killed in a Katsina Ala local government area of the state. In a statement signed by a church official, the clergyman and 2 congregation members were seized by armed men in the early hours of Tuesday from the pastor's home within the church's premises. Meanwhile, the state governor, Hyacinth Aliyah, condemned the killing of 10 people on Wednesday, calling the attack an ugly, cowardly, and unacceptable act of violence. Still in Benue, the Federal Executive Council announced it has approved the construction of a brand new 34.4 billion naira airstrip in Boko, Benue State. The announcement came from Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo, who stated that it's in part meant to help security agencies tackle terrorists in the Middle Belt. Let's take a look.
For us in aviation, we just had one memo, and it's a short one. We sought Council's approval for the construction and development of the Boko airstrip in Benue State, and it was graciously approved by Council. It was awarded in favor of Mrs. CCECC Nigeria Limited in the sum of 34,398,211,538 naira 64 kobo. Now, the importance of this Boko airstrip is that Boko in particular serves as an important hub for agricultural activities around the Middle Belt, and also in particular for security agencies who have had to search for airstrips and bases to confront the challenges that we're facing around that axis. It's also a base. It will also be a base for humanitarian activities and services, medical emergency services. That is how important that area is, and we thought it was important to put an airstrip there to confront and address these challenges of government. So we got the gracious approval of Council for the construction of the Boko airstrip. Thank you.
All right, this approval comes at a particularly sensitive moment, given these relentless wave of violence across the state. I thought I should highlight, the insecurity that we faced within yesterday and today. And it's good to see that, the airstrip will help the security situation in Benue State. That's what I really wanted to highlight, because we need everything. We need to be able to tackle insecurity in our nation. Well, may the souls of the 10 people who died in Benue State, may their souls rest in peace. And we pray for the quick release of the priest who's been abducted.
Dr. Samuel Binde and 2 others.
Reverend Dr. Samuel Binde and 2 others. Well, all right. Shall we quickly take the story in Senegal. Now, to highlight this trending video showing dramatic scenes from the country's National Assembly as opposition lawmaker Abdul Mbo was physically dragged from the podium and forcibly removed by military police after he called members of the ruling party fascists and refused to leave the podium when ordered to do so. Let's take a look. I can see Ayo in shock. But you know, Ayo, this chaos is far more than one lawmaker refusing to leave the podium. The ruling party pushed through sweeping constitutional reforms. The changes limit the president's powers, with the entire opposition walking out in protest. But here's the explosive backdrop. President Faye fired the country's former prime minister in May. Yet his party controls the National Assembly, making him speaker. Two men who came to power together now on a dangerous coalition cause, with Senegal's constitution caught in the middle. That's really the story here. And you know, I was just going to say that it's not only, I mean, I don't think I've seen this yet in our National Assembly, but we see it across.
Right? With due respect, I think both of them are a disgrace to the Senegalese people that voted them in. And I think the Senegalese people know better. Vote these two out.
Vote them out. That's what Rufai is saying.
Out.
All right. Chaos in... I wish we had time to discuss this one. But now we'll take our final story under milestones. Today we honor the life of the late Diana, the Princess of Wales, who would have been 65 on July 1st. Born in 1961, she lived just 36 years. Yet, the mark she left on the world has outlasted her many times over. The world called her the People's Princess, and she earned that title not through protocol, but through people. And to mark what would have been her 65th birthday, her son, Prince William, chose to highlight the 3rd anniversary of Homewards, his initiative to end homelessness across the United Kingdom, a cause his mother championed. Diana remains one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Elton John called her England's rose, and that rose has never stopped blooming.
Goodbye, England's rose. May you ever grow in our hearts. You are the grace that placed yourselves where lives were torn apart.
May her soul continue to rest in peace. England Rose, one of my favorites ever. A true legend, an icon that never truly dies. On that note, I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's. You can see how I'm smiling because I really miss her and I love her. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. Here is Candle in the Wind from Elton John in honor of Princess Diana. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Steps will always fall here along England's greenest hills. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will.